And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world.
I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
Steve.
And we're back.
Yes.
This is Sundown Week.
Yes.
Little bit of darkness, a little bit of gloom. But
Let's focus on mental health and what it means to different people. I mean, you have different perspectives, I have different perspectives, and then Steve just brought in some new ones.
This brother has a very unique perspective on life. So
Yes.
This is the Amity Affliction. The name of the song is Pittsburgh from the album Let the Ocean Take Me. So all of these songs were selected by the big homie. Every song this week is selected by the big homie. If you, dear listener, would like an entire week devoted to reviews, send me an email, vinindsori@gmail.com. Okay, and if you're watching this because this one is, I have a suspicion.
I would have the baby.
I have a suspicion that she's just gaining weight and she let herself go and she's blaming it on pregnancy. But by the time you're watching this, you will have seen, I will have seen whether or not
there truly is a baby.
And, you know, that'd be a pretty elaborate conspiracy because that would mean the doctors and stuff and the
Everybody would
ultrasound
be in
people
on it.
would have to be in on it.
Well, no, because of COVID, you haven't been able to come to a lot of it.
Seduct. Stranger things has happened.
Yeah.
So, okay. Without
Steve,
further...
are we supposed to not say your last name, or do you not care?
I don't know. Whatever.
I think that
It's too late now.
His last name is De Herrera.
De
And
Herrera.
I think that would be, there are certain last names that look good on a jersey, and I think that would look very good on a jersey.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, I had a
football.
friend, her last name
that's
was
a
Van
classic-
Aken, and that also looked really cool.
That's a
written down.
classic football name right
Yeah.
there. De Herrera.
Yeah.
Steve De Herrera!
It gets misread a lot. I had it on a name tape once. Didn't go so well.
Really?
Yeah, boot camp, man. People are savage.
Oh. Okay, so you guys ready?
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Let's start this thing.
My lyrics, I'm up.
Here we go.
I've been searching for an essence, but I'm lost inside my head, where I've spent every waking moment, wishing I was dead for a few minutes. Get me away from here for a few minutes. Wipe away my tears. Lost right now is the ocean deep. I am now my friend and now my heart does say
super, super good. First of all, can you pull up the lyrics?
On the video. Is that you out there?
Mother?
Open the door.
Okay, just send a text in the future. We're recording.
I
Just
thought
set
you
it there.
guys be downstairs and I was like,
Just set it on. Just set it on the bed.
okay.
Set it on the floor in the room. Well, don't set it on the floor. Get one of those trays and set it on the bed.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
To the window, it's white.
Close the door, please.
Get out.
Okay, this song, like when I'm feeling like really, really, really bad, like that's the feeling, and it captures it perfectly. And then he did that desperate vocal style that is like really, really, really good. But I liked that he said, okay, he said, "Tell me I'm not undone." He says, "I can't take another breath. Please tell me I'm not undone." To me, that was like him saying, like, he doesn't really want, like, he feels like there's cancer in his blood, and he feels like there's water in his lungs, and he's lost inside of his head, like he's trapped in there. And like sometimes like that's so much where like the craziness happens is inside your head. And like he's dealing with all these things, and it makes him like want to be dead. But he's been searching for an exit, but he's lost in his head. Like, but it seems like he doesn't want to stay there. Like, and anytime I've been like at the worst part of myself, like I don't want to stay there, and I don't want to feel that way. And so when he says like, you know, tell me I'm not undone, to me that was like he wants somebody to say, look, it's not over for you. Like there's more, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I just, and this song, like, you know, I said like there's some songs that I can just like feel them like so deeply. It's like, yes, this one is one of those. And so I really, 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 really like this one. I would listen to again for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be hearing this.
Yep.
What's this song about, big homie?
I mean, okay, so it's not, this song wasn't picked, like, so this is the last one of the week. And I picked this one specifically because of its contrast to basically the rest of the week. And I mean, it's not a very deep song. I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of hate from all the elitists, like, oh, metalcore sucks, blah, 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 blah. I don't care.
I don't care. I love
Good song.
You know, it's not a deep song. It's very face value. The reason why I picked it is because we've seen an entire journey now, and it kind of mimics how I see the journey, like stemming from childhood, right? Like we started in the beginning with the way certain things affect you in childhood, and how that carries on into your perspective, and how it shifts your perspective of life, and how that in turn it kind of breaks something. I mean, that's really the only way I can describe it, is it kind of breaks something in you, and then it shifts your own personal perspective of yourself. And that's really the thought that I wanted to explore the most, is how your series of life events, no matter what they are, again, everybody has, like I said, they have their own struggles. So nobody's is worse or better than anybody's. They're just different. We just experience life differently. But these experiences psychologically can break you. And so I have a huge problem with the mental health dynamic. I don't think it's like, how do I explain that? You wouldn't look at somebody who was born without legs or born blind. You wouldn't say they were unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
They have we call that a disability.
Mm-hmm.
And I think going down this road, you kind of take on more of a disability than you do a sickness, because sickness kind of connotates cures, right? Like you get a cold, you rest up, you get better, right? And that's kind of the hope, is like, we hope we can get better. But better compared to what? Compared to what we think norm is, or compared to what ideal is? Because we'll never reach ideal. At least I don't think so. You know, show me one person who's ideal, you know, and I'll show you a liar. That's how I look at it. So the reason why I picked this song, not to go on too many tangents here, is specifically the end part. Like the whole first half of the song gives you a very vivid visual, right? Like it gives you tangible comparisons to the psychological, I guess. And then you get to the second half and he's talking about, I'll take another step, another breath for you. And I've always thought that until I hit the point in my life that kind of, I guess, where I had to deal with these suicidal thoughts and whatever, and almost acted on them, I kind of bought into that. Like, you know, somebody needs you, somebody's there, somebody, you know, be it a kid, a parent, a family member, whoever, you know, a significant other, there's always somebody who you can live for. And as I hit that wall, I realized it's a fairy tale. It's a you know, it's a bedtime story we tell ourselves to feel better, because when you're broken in such a way that you can't look at yourself anymore, there you can rationalize and you can imagine how people are better without you, you know? And so I saw that as I guess something that I took and I kind of bought into, and then I saw it for what it was, and it kind of made me irate, I guess, that we don't look at things in a way that makes us uncomfortable, right? Like mental health kind of puts it in this ambiguous kind of victim state, like we're a victim of some sickness, or you know, but there's hope for something better. And I don't know, I'm not big in lying to myself. And so again, and this is again just my own perspective, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist. This is just me and what I've experienced, what I've seen, and what I kind of took from it. And I don't know that you get better. I don't know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just you either learn to live with the disability or you don't.
Well, I think a lot of everybody's perspective on given issues is going to be shaped by our experiences, right? So like for me, for example, when I hear you say, oh, you know, like you're lying to yourself about being here and, you know, like that things wouldn't be better if you were gone, I was on the other side of that, because I've had people do that. Like they pieced out and, you know, they literally told me before they went off and did it, like, oh, everything's good because I know you're going to take care of my daughter or whatever. And the irony was that her doing that ended our marriage. Like we never recovered from that situation. And it was directly, and it was weird because, I mean, it was really fucked up because we were on a good trajectory. And it took a lot of time, like over a decade, to get to that point. And then that happened and we were not able to recover from it. You know, so and it was interesting because looking at, you know, we hacked into her emails and we read all of her, you know, whatever. And she basically was saying that, like, you know, when my daughter was here, I had to stay alive for my daughter, but now she's off and married. She's got her own family. She doesn't need me anymore, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, that was 2012. And I'm not with that person anymore. That was the end of it. But she's just now, it's almost been a decade since it happened. That's mind blowing to me. It happened in 2012, but like she's just now, you know, getting some sort of work done with herself on it, and it's affected our kids. You know, it set off a chain of reactions that fucked up a lot of things for us that would not have happened had she been here. Mm-hmm. So, but of course, it's one of those weird situations where you can't know the validity of that until you do it. But if you do it, then it's too late, right? Like, so,
right.
So even if you believe in an afterlife, which obviously we do as Christians, like that whole situation, like, and it's crazy because another family member, same logic, did the exact same thing, and that sent somebody who I love very dearly onto a completely destructive trajectory, destroyed his marriage. I don't believe that they would have ended the way they did
I agree.
if that didn't happen.
I agree.
And then
Wow.
and he's also in a not very good place. You know what I'm saying? So I understand it, because if you've never been on the other side of somebody doing that, then obviously that logic is there. But and one of those people was somebody who we kind of had to carry, like was an emotional sort of case, as it were, and somebody that we had to carry a lot, and somebody that we had to take care of growing up the whole time. And all of us like took shifts, like, and when I say shifts, I'm talking about segments of our lives that was just devoted to this one person. And so I'm sure she would say things like that, like, when I'm gone, blah, 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 you guys will be able to whatever. And like that said that guy. And it also like said that, wasn't good for me either, as far as decisions I made after, and with groups of people that I was a lot more ruthless and a lot more surgical about decisions that I made, that I didn't have to be that way. Like in my group, in the particular whatever, I was like we don't have to do this, we can do it this way. And then everybody, and people were like, all right, then whatever, fine. And then after that happened, people were like, okay, let's handle it this way. I'd be like, yep, let's do it. Let's handle it that way. And people were like, okay, let's do it. I was no longer the voice of, I was no longer the Jiminy Cricket guy.
That's sad.
After that. And so, I don't know. I guess people paid the price for that. That really had nothing to do with anything, but you just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, I guess. But I mean, so my point is like, it definitely does affect you. Like and it's really weird, Steve, because the first person that did it was like the rock of the family that was like holding everybody up. And the second person that did it was the person who everybody had to hold
that's
up.
True. That's weird.
They were like literally on the opposite end of the spectrums, and they both did it. And it had literally the same effect on both sides.
Wild, yeah.
Because, so I'm just going to say that that's bullshit, because I've lived it on the other side. You see what I'm saying? Like, I've lived it on the other side. And people really don't realize the effect that they have on other people and how important they are to other people. And I think a lot of times, like, we're probably scared to even believe that. So we'll swing the other way and say, X, Y, Z, because we don't even want to, like, perchance to believe that, because you just cycle through too many things that, in life, to where it's almost easier to believe the hard thing. That's the thing about the mind, is like, sometimes the mind is so fucking crafty, like you don't really understand what your mind is doing to you. Like your mind will tell you that believing some horrible truth is like the hard thing, and everybody else is deluding themselves, when in reality, holding on to that one aspect of reality to the exclusion of other realities is actually an easier way of dealing with it, because there's no risk of disappointment.
Yeah.
So, as a person who, like, I don't really, I'm going to just be honest, like, after having two very close people to me, like, these are the two most important human beings in my life that shaped me growing up. After losing those two people, like, I honestly, like, could never do that to the people around me. So, like, that was the end of that type of ideation for me. Because I always, like, even after I had my experience with God, the hospital, whatever, like, I'd always, like, struggle with it here and there. But, like, after that whole situation, both of those situations, and they happened pretty close to each other, as far as, like, it's like 2 years apart, something like that. But that was gone after that. Just because I just saw the fallout and the continued fallout and the knowing that I was never going to be the same. Like for both of those, like I was never ever going to be the same person again. And I'm like looking at like the people, and it's funny because we talk about like people that are not in our circle that like, you know, in the previous songs or whatever, but like the people that are like close to me, like, and the kids and not even just the kids, just, you know, the people that I've affected in life and things like that, like what me doing that would mean so that's never, you know, it's never even crossed my mind after that, you know, because I've been on the other side of it twice. And it was crazy, bro, because I saw the emails, you know what I'm saying? And like, not to be weird, but like, she sounded like what you were saying, you know what I mean? So like I saw the emails and I was like looking at all the logic that was used. I'm like, this is really fucked up.
Yeah.
Because it made so much sense. It was like it made perfect sense. Like what she was saying, and she almost like painted herself into the corner where there was no other option. Like if you just reading through it, you just got this like weird claustrophobic feeling. I was like, holy shit, like her mind was like conspiring to get her the fuck out of here. Because like by the time you read like the last couple of emails, it was like there was no, like if you didn't know her, it would be like there was no other option. This had to happen. And it didn't have to happen. You know what I'm saying? And I firmly believe that if she would have known the result, she wouldn't have done it. I believe that 100% about her. Like she would have known. But then in order for her to know that, she would have had to know her value. So, you know.
I think that's the crux right there though, is and that's kind of the point I wanted to make is knowing somebody's value, right? Like anything with value. We've touched on this a few times before, is like, what is the value of a person, right? Well, value is very it's relative, right? To a rich man, $1 is nothing. To somebody who has nothing, $1 is everything, right? So I'm not necessarily saying that the world will be better, you know, with you know, whoever the world would be better without you. I'm not saying that because we don't live in a vacuum, right? Like everybody's lives touches countless lives every day, significantly and insignificantly. But when you have to rationalize value, like the I guess the part that I'm getting at is that your value or what's valuable to you has but it doesn't play into what's valuable to me, right? Or what I perceive to have value. So you know, going back to this song specifically, and again, a lot of reoccurring themes throughout the week is it's not what is my value to you, it's what's my value to me.
Right.
And you can't correct that. No matter what you say, what you do, you can't change that belief in someone. You can you could try to bring them onto your side, you try to bring that perspective, but it's not a guarantee. And I think that's really what I was getting at with this song, is that like to live for somebody else because of how they value you is almost empty.
Not enough.
Yeah.
It's not going to get you to where you need to go. I agree with that. But you know what's interesting is when it says, I'll take another step for you, I'll take another breath for you. I didn't look at that from the perspective of the suicidal person continuing to live for their friend. I looked at it as their friend saying, hey, you can't walk, I'm going to take another step for you. You can't breathe, I'm going to breathe for you. Like, you're down, you're in a bad situation, so we're going to come around you as your friends, and we're going to do that for you because you can't do it right now. So that's
a cute way of looking at it. That's not how I took it, but
well, it was like we you know, with Jonathan and his wife had just, you know, his ex-wife had, you know, whatever, and he pushed through it, and then all his boys came around him, and they all hugged him and all that. Corn, yeah. The Alone I Break. I don't know if you saw that review yet, but
no, haven't seen it yet.
You didn't even edit that one yet, did you?
No, I did. I sent him the link.
Did you
No,
put the,
I haven't sent him the link to that
did you
one
put
yet.
the clips with Jonathan and them in there?
No, I put that on the thumbnail.
Oh, we'll have to reorder it.
I mean, okay, it was just I was having a lot of contractions, so I needed it to just be up. But yeah,
Sori's saying she's still claiming to be pregnant, but so that's the way I looked at it was that I'll take another step for you, like, you know, in the journey of life, like the person's like they're done, they can't go, like they can't go on, and then you get your buddy that kind of picks you up and carries you a little bit, and I think that's what a real friendship is. Like, obviously, if the entire relationship is predicated on carrying the person all the time, that's not a relationship. Like, you're just a mobile hospital. But, you know, it's like Pilgrim's Progress. Like, you got these two people, friends, and they're like going down the journey of life, as it were. People are going to trip, you know, they're going to whatever, and you pick them up and you know, like, and that's one of the things that you get taught in these horrible selection courses, right? Is where, like, you're surrounded by like the greatest alpha males of all time, but dudes are hurt, dudes are injured. You got to pick them up sometimes. Like, that's how it is. And it doesn't mean you're weak, and it doesn't, you know, it just means that you just had a rough go of it, man. You know, it's like it's one of my favorite passages where Jesus looks at Peter and he says, "Hey, you're going to betray me. Like, you're going to deny that you know me." And so he says, "Simon, Satan has asked to sift you like wheat. But I prayed for you, Simon, that your faith not fail." So what's interesting is, like, that Greek word when he says sift you like wheat is plural. So Jesus is saying all the disciples are going to get sifted. But then he says, "But I prayed for you," singular. And so it's like Jesus specifically says, all y'all are going to get it tonight, but I'm praying specifically for you.
Yeah.
Because he was going to get it the worst, because he did the worst thing. So when you're in that situation, like, that's my paradigm of like friendship. Like, yep, everybody's going through it. Like, somebody could show up and like, "Oh, Peter, everybody, it's a bad night for everybody, bro." But sometimes among friends, like some people get it worse than others. Some people have a worse go at it than others. Like, everybody suffers, but suffering is to degrees. Like, stubbed toe is a form of suffering, but it's not a compound fracture.
Right.
So your friend has a compound fracture. You can't say, "Oh, come on, man, everybody's having a bad day with their legs." Like, no, the guy's got a compound fracture. He needs to get carried for a little bit.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then the bone resets, you know, and then Jesus says, you know, "When you've returned, Simon, strengthen your brothers," right? So it's not, "Oh, poor you got a compound fracture." Jesus is like, "No, I'm specifically praying for you. Everybody's getting it tonight, for sure, but I'm specifically praying for you, because you're going to get it the worst." And then he says, "And when you've returned, strengthen your brothers." And that's how to have a healthy relationship. Like, yup, this guy's down, he's hit, we got to take care of him. And then when you're the one getting carried, you have it in your mind, when I get back on my feet, I'm going to be the main guy carrying the most weight for these guys, right? And that's how you have a healthy relationship. Not to pay them back, right? Because you can't pay back a moment in time, because you can't go back in time. But to say, in this life, man, it's a freaking blindfolded walk through a minefield. That's life on earth. You're going to get blown up one day. I'm going to get blown up one day. It's a freaking guarantee. So what that means is, okay, I got blown up. You're carrying me, right? So that means when I get back on my feet, you're going to get blown up. I'm going to be the first one running to carry you, right? And that's how we're going to make it. That's how we're going to get there. So that's how I looked at that, you know.
I think that's a beautiful way to interpret it. I don't think that's what he meant, but yeah.
So that's kind of how, well, there's an actual official music video. So I'm not particularly certain that that's not how he meant it, because that's kind of what the video is communicating.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know. He's like drowning, and then he like, but the whole band starts drowning with him. Like, the whole place gets like submerged in water.
Yeah.
So everybody was dealing with it at the same time in that song. So
I know that when I was like really suicidal, a couple of years ago, before you and I got together, it was like I had myself convinced that everybody was better off without me, including Selah, which
is completely insane.
It's completely insane. But like in my mind, it made so much sense. Like it made complete sense. She's gonna be
Even
fine.
people that don't know you, because everybody, what does everybody say when they see Sailor for the first time? It's like, that's a mini me.
Mini Sori,
Like,
mini Sori.
Every time she would be brushing her teeth, you'd be reminded of the fact that you were gone because she looks exactly like that would have been a disaster. But,
Yeah.
But that's to Steve's point where he's talking about when you lose the value of yourself, because you had gone through a situation that devalued you, you know, in your own mind. And so like there was a lot of self-rejection happening. You know, and that's what people couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
People didn't understand that. And
Yeah.
that you have to be like one of us to understand what was really happening with you. I picked it up, you would have picked it up, our community would have picked it up, but the church community that we had didn't understand what was actually happening.
Right.
Would you say that that's accurate?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's hard because you were usually you were the stand-up person, but you were the person that was carrying everybody through the minefield. So then you got blown up. There was really not many people to come help you. You know?
I don't think there was anybody. I think you were the only one.
Probably. It's probably the only one at that point.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't do anything.
So am I.
But that's the other thing about like devaluing yourself is like you don't know like how you affect the people in your immediate, you know, but you don't know the people you're going to affect in the future. We've hit like 75 million views on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah, there would have been no channel.
There would have been no channel. We wouldn't have made all these connections. We wouldn't have been able to whatever, you know, like that wrong side of heaven thing has touched so many guys in the military who to this day, I still get, we shot that thing like at the beginning of the channel. People still send me stuff about that. Yeah, it was, you know, and we've had people going to kill themselves and like didn't because of, you know, stuff that you were saying. So if you would have done that,
yeah,
that's the other thing that people don't think about. What about in your case, millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people that you've, you know, been a friend to, you know, because we shoot long form videos, and I don't think they're pathetic for considering us friends. I think we have a pathetic society that we don't know how to love each other anymore.
Yeah. I don't think that everybody's reach is going to be quite as broad, but it's still like you still affect the people that are around you.
Yeah, and there's people in the future that you could affect that people would be robbed of you, because I know what a freaking amazing person you are, and you too, Dara, but there's other people that didn't get the opportunity, wouldn't have had the opportunity had you made that decision. You know what I'm saying? Or me either.
Right.
Because I was years before. That's why I was able to see it.
And like
with you.
Like think about for like you, Dara, you've got like this week that you're doing, and like I guarantee we're gonna get emails from this week.
100%.
Well, actually this is the end of the week. So I guarantee
100%.
that we're going to get emails. We've probably already gotten them by the time people are viewing this.
Yeah, it's ironic.
From this, from this affecting them.
Yeah,
which would not have happened if it wasn't for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. Like,
that's mind blowing. That is what I was thinking about that yesterday after we shot the corn video. I'm like, somebody's life is going to get saved watching it. Like, sometimes I'll do something like somebody's not going to kill himself because we've seen so many of those emails. So, Steve, this is actually like reverse the entire intention.
So this proves you're wrong.
I really do. And I mean, honestly, as downtrodden as I am most of the time, I do hope that helps somebody. I mean, maybe that's the whole point. I don't really know. I was talking about the written portion that's going to be read at some juncture or has been.
It would have been read by this point, that's all.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's this whole thing it's for me. It's been a journey of self-discovery, but also like I mean I don't have answers, and I say that, you know, I don't have the answer. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the answer is for you. I don't even know what it is for me. But maybe this will be a catalyst to help somebody find that. And And if it is, great, you know, and if it isn't, well, hey, I wasted a week, you know, no harm, no foul, I guess. But yeah, that irony is not lost on me for sure. as bizarre as it is. So it's just a weird thing, you know.
I'm not gonna lie, it's extremely ironic. I was like listening to you, I was like, holy shit, that's true. It's crazy. But I know for a fact. I know for a
Oh,
fact.
me too.
Because really, a lot of the time, it's just one more day. Like you convince somebody to stick around for one more day, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So
Yeah.
there you go, doing God's work.
Sometimes just make it through the night, because sometimes the night holds, you know, a lot of discouragement and overwhelming feelings. And there's something about, I don't know, the sun comes up and it can change perspectives and stuff. So sometimes just holding on through the night and, you know, like you said, tomorrow maybe, not tonight, you know,
Yeah.
and then tomorrow comes and it's like, well, tomorrow, not tonight,
Yeah.
you know, and then you get through those phases. That like,
That was big for you.
yeah, like you don't have to think about all the years to come. Like just make it through tonight, make it through tomorrow. And you know, perspectives change and circumstances change and things change and people change, your environment changes. Like nothing stays the same forever. It just feels like it is in the moment, you know. When we were in grade school, we were like, I'm never gonna get out of division, you know, or whatever like thing that you hated in school, you know. And now we're like, school is such a small portion of our lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The kids are like, ugh. I'm like, please, I wish I could just do division, and that was my biggest problem.
That's one of the things that kills me about like these rappers dying in their 20s.
Oh my
Because
gosh,
it's like
they're just babies.
once everything is like but like once you hit your 30s, you start to figure shit out. You're like, wait a second, like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
That's
I think
not a big deal. This is.
yeah, then you start to, you know, because by the time your kids are growing up
What
a
is the
little bit,
40s and the 50s?
yeah, like you get that wisdom.
Yeah.
And like people end up cutting themselves off before they're able to get the wisdom to go,
Yeah.
you know, beyond.
Yeah.
But anyway, I love this song. It's a really, really good song.
So did I. It's
It's
11 for me.
I knew it. I
Obviously.
knew it. I knew it. It's a 10 for me. What do you give it, Herrera?
I'm terrible at judging. It's like a 7-8 for me. It always has been. It's not
High score.
it's not one of my favorite songs, I guess. And yeah, we went into that a little bit, but I think the meaning was there, so that kind of shifted it up a little bit with the meaning or the message. It served its purpose.
There you go, Amity, Affliction. You served your purpose. You guys are like a
Oh my
7.5, a 7.5, or an 8. We'll play that for you guys at the interview.
Nope.
Pin out.
Story out.
Leave out.
Gone.